Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of the Gamers in Crisis podcast, which is a podcast created and hosted by myself and Joshua, aka Hacked Comics, here on YouTube. In this episode, which is number 7, we are talking about Marvel and just sharing our love and gushing over the franchise. We saw some trailers for upcoming games, and we also discussed that, and as well as future projects that have been announced for 2022 and 2023. So if you are into the MCU and have the same feelings that we do about it, I really think you will enjoy this episode. If you would like to listen to this episode or any of our past 6 episodes, I will have a link in the description box available to where you can stream that on any podcast streaming platform. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below, and I will see you in my next video.
Hi, and welcome to the Gamers in Crisis podcast. We're gamers.
And you're in crisis.
I'm Josh, and with me, as always, is my co-host,
Hannah. And today, we are just going to be having a very informal conversation about Marvel and everything that they have been doing recently, because honestly, they have been popping off. And I'm excited. My bank account is not excited, but I'm excited. And we just want to kind of have like a fan moment. We're big fans of Marvel. I have been since like the first, I don't read the comics, so, but I have been since the first Iron Man movie came out.
Also, I have been a fan of Marvel for a long time. I am not, again, I don't read the comics. I've seen all the movies. I do know what happens in the comics because I watch people on the internet talk about it, but I don't actually read the comics. Well, I read the Power Pack, if that counts. As a kid.
I don't know. But, we've been keeping up with them for at least over 10 years because I'm pretty sure the Iron Man movie came out in 2008. So over 10 years. And I wanted to start things off with I'm not going to squeal, but it was a squeal. And a couple days ago when we were recording this, PlayStation announced that there is going to be a Marvel Wolverine game. Josh, it's coming out in 2023.
Yeah.
So it is very, very premature.
Did they give it a mature rating? Like, did they put a rating in that trailer?
No.
No?
Did I say mature? I meant to say that's very premature.
No. I was just wondering if they had.
Oh, no. Well, actually, you know what? I don't know. It honestly was just 2 seconds. It basically just showed Logan, right? Is his name?
Logan.
So I'm going to say really quick.
Mr. Wolverine.
One of the earliest movies I saw around that time was was X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yes.
And I always thought that it was so cool because I just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
There's no explanation. So which character is that? It's been a minute since I've
playing
seen
cards.
it. Oh, okay. So, yeah, basically all we saw in the trailer was that you just saw Logan sitting at the bar. His knuckles are already bruised, so you can assume that he just got into a fight.
Probably just did a bunch of beating up.
Yeah, and someone walks in, I believe, and he like instantly pulls spikes out. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited to see this because, again, I haven't read any of the comics, but from the movie, he was a part of a science experiment, right? Most usually, because his claws were originally fingers.
Yeah,
he's
a
bones,
mutant,
right?
That is immortal, basically, because he has not immortal, but he's really old because he has a really high healing factor. And in an experiment, they turned his bone claws into metal claws and gave him a adamantite skeleton, which is basically vibranium. So in a basically unbreakable metal, double maked him really hard to kill, though kind of really weak to people like Magneto because he's all made of metal.
Exactly. And so, however, I was kind of thinking about how would a game like this play, right? Because it could play like Spider-Man, which Spider-Man is not technically a part of Marvel.
He is and he isn't. He is a Marvel character, and he's in Marvel Comics. So Marvel Comics are all together. The characters with the whole universe. Problem is, back in like the 90s, I don't know what year, Marvel wasn't doing well financially, especially the movie department. So they were just selling
really crazy
off,
compared to today.
I know, crazy, right? They were selling off characters just to have income. So they sold the rights to the film rights to Spider-Man and Spider-Man characters to Sony. As well as the Fantastic Four to Sony, the X-Men to Fox, and that's why we have all these different Marvel universes going on. When in the comics they're all together, and why for so long the main Marvel we didn't see the X-Men and we didn't see Spider-Man until Sony did a deal with Marvel to let Spider-Man come back. And now since Disney has Fox, all the X-Men characters can show up, though Marvel I don't think wants to touch them just yet because it's just confusing. You know, people already know the characters so well from the Fox one that trying to introduce them is going to be a little tricky. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they're going to get to it, but I don't think they're going to get to it like right away. It's not their biggest concern.
And well, okay, so I wanted to go back to having like a new character kind of be introduced. Oh, you guys can't see me. I'm putting air quotes.
Air quotes. New character.
I forget. It's a audio. You cannot see my air quotes. But
really for the animated background, I'll just make you doing air quotes the entire time. Everything you're saying just seems like it's a quote or being ironic.
It's like so we are definitely fans of Marvel.
Yeah, we like Marvel.
We've been keeping up with them for 10 years when it actually has been 10 minutes. No, that's cap. We've been keeping it for a long time. But
we finished all the movies before this.
So I mentioned Spider-Man because at the same Sony showcase, they also announced Spider-Man 2 Venom.
Yes.
And so this one, I am so excited. I don't know if I've told you, but I have a deep love for Venom. So
Venom, yes, you said Venom. Very cool. One of my favorite Spider-Man characters.
So in Spider-Man 3, the one with Tobey Maguire, I absolutely love that movie because of the way Venom was. Now, you know, I'm not really too picky on movies. I have movies I like, have movies I don't like. I'm not one to really sit there and nitpick. So some people may think it's a bad movie. You know, of course, every entertainment is subject.
Yeah.
Well, no, not the one with
Spider-Man
Tom
3.
Hardy.
Right.
Spider-Man 3. Now, some people, you know, I don't know. I just thought it was cool. So I always liked Venom from then. And then I recently watched the Venom movie with, as I call him, Tom Oh-So-Fine Hardy. So, and I really liked that movie as well because Venom is just, well, the one with Tom Hardy. Have you seen it? You said no?
I have not seen that one. I've only seen Spider-Man 3.
I highly recommend when you get the time to watch it. But I think Venom, and Marvel does this well by inserting comic relief points. There is good comic relief points from Venom. Now, how is a parasite, and in the movie he does get offended when you call him a parasite, but how can a parasite be funny? I do not know. But they managed to capture that well. So
they're making a second one. They're making Venom 2. Have you seen
the
trailer
They are
for
making Venom 2. I completely forgot. I haven't watched the trailer, but I did see it. When I looked up Tom Hardy, because, you know, I want to look at pictures.
Yeah.
I saw that come up, other his movies. But, so I'll make it quick about Spider-Man. You see a quick glimpse of Venom. So I'm really curious to know who that is. Because if I remember correctly, Venom needs a host in order to survive. Like, he can...
Are you saying is it going to be the same kind of character that Tom Hardy is? Like the typically Venom is hosted by I can't remember the name, but first it goes to Spider-Man, and then it's picked up often by this reporter Eddie Brock, the reporter. Though Venom has been worn by a lot of people in the comics, like Flash Johnson, a lot of other people that I can't think of the names of right off the top of my head. But multiple people have worn the Venom suit, so is this going to be the same Venom suit, you know, in this? I will have to go and either replay or look back at the unlockables in the first Spider-Man game, because they hint to a lot of characters that have already shown up in the universe that we just don't see in the game, because they can't put every character in.
When you say the first Spider-Man game, you mean the one of this decade, or like the OG?
The Spider-Man 1 that this is the Spider-Man 2 of, you know?
Oh, okay.
Where we play as Peter Parker, you know, with Doc Ock, and that's the whole story on. Because I'm wondering, I feel like I remember there being hints of Venom in the world, but we just don't see him in the game. So my thought is, if Venom is already an established character, would this be Venom's returning? And if that's the case, could it be Venom being hosted by someone we don't normally see him in, just because we've seen so much of Eddie Brock Venom, that it would be nice to see it with a different character?
Exactly.
I'd have to go back and check. I'm not entirely sure. But like every time you unlock a backpack, it kind of hints to some of the world.
Something else. Yes.
I want to say something about that game though for a second. I am mad, not about the game. The game's great. I'm mad that the PlayStation Store locks DLC regionally. So if you have a UK version of a game and you're in the US and your PlayStation's in the US, you can't buy DLC for that game for whatever reason. Just region locking. So I bought the DLC one time for that game. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited to play some more of the Spider-Man game. I really loved it. Couldn't access it. Got really mad. Didn't know what was going on. Turns out I couldn't use the DLC because my version I got from Amazon was apparently a UK version. Somehow Amazon messed up and sent me the wrong version of the game, basically.
Okay, I was about to say, when did you go to the UK?
I don't know. I think it was a gift, and whatever reason they sent a UK version, which sucks. And there is a way around it. Like if I created another PlayStation account that was a UK account, I could then buy the DLC on that and then swap over to my main account and play it, I think. Or I might not be able to access it on my main account. I might have to replay the whole game on this new account and then play the It's annoying. It's really annoying. I'm frustrated by it. I might just never play the DLC for that game. And that might just be what happens. That, or I'll download the game when it's really cheap on sale, like a digital download of it, and then get the DLC. That's also
that is a possibility. And I forgot completely, and then I did want us to touch on like the movie. Of course, what you want to say.
Yeah.
I know I've been like rambling, but I brought up Spider-Man to try to go back to Wolverine because I wonder how it's going to play. Because I wonder if it's going to be okay, well, let me finish that thought. I wonder if it's going to play like Spider-Man or if it's going to be set up like the Marvel's Avengers game and how that's going to look. Or if it's going to be like how Guardian of the Galaxy is, which the two are very similar, of course, but they're
different. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy is trying to be more third-person shooter in like a more traditional gaming sense. I would say my best guess for Wolverine is that because we have so many Marvel games coming out at once, they're probably going to want each one to feel distinctive. So my hope is that the Wolverine game is going to be dissimilar from both the Guardians of the Galaxy and Spider-Man. Just because I wouldn't mind it being kind of combo based, but I just feel like if Spider-Man's coming out and Wolverine's coming out around the same time, like if they're both just kind of the same game with different characters, it's going to feel kind of lame, I guess. Repetitive, I guess, is the better way to say that. So I would hope that, and I want it to be more gruesome, if that makes sense. The reason I asked you earlier if it was a mature game is that's what I want. I like that Spider-Man's is kind of, everyone can access it. It's very friendly.
Clean.
He's clean. He's a clean character. Guardians of the Galaxy will be a bit less clean. But it's a shooter. You can get away with some stuff. Wolverine, that... My dream would be a Souls-like game, but I know that's not happening. But imagine if.
Yeah.
Just something hard. Not like, obviously he can regen, so he can kind of just keep going. But if you've played like the Deadpool game, or remember that?
Yes.
I feel like that would be interesting. Something that's very just beat them up, very hack and slash, and you're just plowing through people.
But Deadpool was also very playful.
Yeah, it was I don't think this will be playful. Speaking of Wolverine, have you seen the movie Logan?
I have not.
You have to.
I need to.
It's very good.
It's good?
It's so good.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what'd you give it?
9.
Oh.
Yes.
That's pretty high.
One of the best like Marvel movies, period.
What's your favorite Marvel movie?
I can tell you what some of the best are. Spider-Man Homecoming is really up there. That's a very good movie. Speaking of Spider-Man. Iron Man 1, really good. OG, very good.
OG.
Infinity War and Endgame are up there of like kind of on the same par with each other. They're just both really good movies.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what other movies are in there. There's just so many.
So there's so many. It's okay.
There's so many. But those are like the top ones I can think off the top of my head. Oh, okay. Guardians of the Galaxy as well.
Okay. I had to hear what your favorites were so that I could see, your ranking of Logan. But the trailer looks really, really good. And that's kind of
Logan's just so different than the other ones. That's the thing.
Yeah, and I think that's got kind of what maybe the feel that I want from this game is. Like, I wanted to play like The Last of Us. Maybe that's what
I would love it if it played like The Last of Us. To be,
of course, not like The Last of Us.
Not obviously not The Last of Us, but like if it was very gritty, very story based. It's not an open world game. It's like very like we're just going from task to task. That's kind of what I want.
Like, not too comic booky, but maybe like some Jedi Fallen Order type of esque. Maybe that's like what I want in the sense of like open worldness.
Like you're in a level and you can go places, but you're not in an open world. Yeah, I don't think every game needs to be open world. I like having some experiences like The Last of Us that are directed. You know, you're going somewhere the whole time.
I don't like being too restricted in like a first-person shooter game. Yeah. But sometimes I don't want like complete super duper open world, which I'm trying to think of the most open world game I've played. The first thing that comes to mind is GTA.
I would say I know you've played Fallout.
Oh, Fallout, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the most open world. Like GTA is open world, but it's more sandbox. I feel like there's a difference, and it's not quite a difference because they overlap. But sometimes games like GTA lean more towards the sandbox, while games like Fallout lean more towards I guess this is arbitrary of a difference towards the open world, more RPG sense that when you go somewhere, there's a thing to do there. Versus GTA, where you can go places, but there's nothing new to do besides this thing you can do everywhere. I feel like Breath of the Wild finds that nice balance of like, it's a sandbox, you can do stuff everywhere, but there's kind of always something you can find or a reason to go to any location, you know? Where GTA, there's a reason to go to the other side of the map, but there's never really a reason to go to the one cornfield, you know?
I 100% agree with you.
Oh, also you played Cyberpunk.
You know what? I was going to say Cyberpunk, but then I didn't say it because I'm like, like it is open world, but I feel like it's not open world like how they intended it to be. Of course, we don't have to go on a whole Cyberpunk rant because
Cyberpunk's a whole other rant. I'm going to say though, I did really enjoy playing that game. I got to be honest. I beat it and I started a new character.
Really?
I haven't played much of the new character. I just wanted to start something new. So if I did want to play some more, I'd play that rather than playing on the character I beat the game twice with.
Yeah.
But I did go back, like I got one ending and I said that was a bad ending and I did a different one.
I haven't beat the game. But again, let's not go into Cyberpunk.
Sorry, Cyberpunk rant. Anyway.
The light is all on Marvel. So
we have Logan coming up. We have Spider-Man coming out.
You said Logan. You mean Wolverine?
Wolverine coming out. Got the new Spider-Man coming out. We just got Spider-Man. So Spider-Man, the next one's coming out in like 2 years, I think. That's what they said, right?
Yeah. Because we just got Miles Morales.
We just got Miles Morales. We don't need another one.
Just yet.
We're getting Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that's first. That's the one we're going to get the soonest.
I believe so, yes.
Are we getting any other games?
Off the top of my head, I'm kind of forgetting because, again, we can't, like, Marvel they have been working.
Movie-wise.
No days off.
We just got Shang Chi. That just came out. And I just watched that 2 nights ago. Really enjoyed it.
How was it?
Very good. I liked how Awkwafina's character throughout the whole movie has like no right to be in the situation she is, but she's kind of making the most of it.
I haven't seen it.
I'm not spoiling much, but she's like the comical relief side character that's on all the Marvel movies. Any movie, really. She's the B-plot character. She just kind of like stumbles along through each situation, but she's very like aware of it, and she's very aware of herself and what she's capable of. She's like, nah, I can't be here. We gotta go.
I see.
And then she kind of gets a redemption at the end. She's like, all right, I can do some stuff. You know, I can do some things. I won't spoil what happens in the movie, but it's good. Go. I would say watch it.
And then I believe I definitely will. And then looking up a list, so that came out September 3rd. Next for November 5th, which I am so excited about, is Eternals. I have been highly anticipating that movie. And so for our listeners, if you have not watched the trailer of Eternals, please do, okay? But a short, brief description that I just pulled up is The Eternals. A race of immortality begins with superhuman powers who have secretly lived on Earth for thousands of years, reunite to battle the evil deviants. And so it has a really good cast. Angelina Jolie stars in it. Who else is in it? She plays as Athena.
There's a bunch of people from Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay. So I don't want to butcher anyone's name, so I'm gonna just say the names that I know because I don't want to disrespect anybody. That's rude. So I said we have Angelina Jolie. We have who did I say? Richard Madden, Salma Hayek. Who else is here? I can't even see. I'm trying to read it and I'm reading it way too fast.
More people that are also in this movie.
A lot of
good actors.
But that's going to be a good one. And then I just saw this just now, November 24th, Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, the Hawkeye TV series.
The one
everyone forgot about.
Oh, I thought it was a movie.
No, TV series, Disney Plus show.
Now,
so Disney Plus has been popping off with their shows. Sorry, I cut you off.
Of course. No, you're fine. I was going to ask you, can you talk about it? Because I don't know.
Yeah. So it started with WandaVision. Then they had Falcon the Winter Soldier. And then Loki. We also are getting right now...
What If, right?
What If. And then next is, like you said, Hawkeye's coming out after this. They've been doing a really good job with the TV series of giving you like a week or two break once one show ends and then starting up with another one. So there's always like some kind of Disney Plus show to be watching. That's always there's always going to be one coming out. So as soon as What If ends, give it another week, Hawkeye's going to start picking up. And then after Hawkeye, I think it's Armor Wars. I could be wrong on that.
Says, I can't speak. It just says on this website that after that is Spider-Man No Way Home. December 17th.
No Way Home comes out
December 17th.
Yes, and then I think Armor Wars comes out after that, and then something, and then the Ironheart. It says
Miss Marvel coming out 2020, late 2021.
Yes, Miss Marvel's the other one. Ironheart is the one that's coming. Of the ones coming up, I'm the most excited for Ironheart. That's with Riri Williams. It's the new Iron Man character, effectively. She's kind of stepping in, replacing that role. Typically, she's like a student either in end of high school or college. I'm not entirely super familiar with the character, but basically she's like the young Iron Man. She just kind of reverse engineers a suit of her own and fills the role.
I'm excited.
Armor Wars really cool. Is going to be with War Machine Rhodey, kind of just cleaning up everything after Tony Stark died. Spoiler.
Oh, yay! I love him.
If you haven't seen, we're going to spoil everything with Marvel, so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that if you're listening to this, like you kind of keep up with the universe.
We're assuming you kind of got it.
But I mean, his death was spoiled for me before I even saw the movie.
So you don't even care at this point.
I was literally watching a chocolate commercial on YouTube and I read the comments. Please don't ask me why. And someone was just like, Iron Man is dead. What does that have to do with chocolate?
I had to avoid the internet so hard. I kind of knew, but I didn't know enough to believe it, you know? So I went in and I was like, this might happen, but I don't really know, but I'm figuring. And then it happened. I was like, all right, that was well done.
Josh, what do you mean? Everything that is on the internet is 100% true. You don't have to fact check.
Well, it was more like I saw the thumbnail of a video.
You don't trust what you read on the internet?
You're right.
That's just like The Onion. Everything that The Onion says is 100% true. I have never
always
ever,
retweet
ever
an Onion article with tons of anger and exclamation points.
I mean, I've used The Onion in some of my college papers, and my professors were like, "Wow, this is some really great research," and I was like, "Yeah." That's The Onion for you. Of course, we are 100% joking. Please do not believe everything that you read on the internet. We highly recommend fact-checking everything that you see. Please read responsibly.
Always double check your sources. Always go down to the bottom and see what that sources are, and then go check them. Just because someone's like, a scientist once said this, check the scientist.
Especially on Twitter. Speaking of articles and doctors and research, in March 25th, 2022, now this one I am next excited for, next to Eternals, Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness is supposed to come out. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you, Josh, but I absolutely love Doctor Strange. First of all, do you remember when I had my Benedict Cumberbatch thing last year? A little bit. So for our lovely listeners, I had watched Doctor Strange, and I had kind of become I got really into Benedict Cumberbatch. I can't explain why. So I went and I watched Sherlock. No, I watched Sherlock, his show. And that is such a good show. I like the Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law.
Yeah.
So that's a really good show. Like he really portrays that character.
I've seen a few episodes
well.
of it. It's very good.
And so I absolutely love Doctor Strange. He's probably one of my, I like a lot of people, but he's like one of my top favorites. So I'm excited to see him back again. Also, really quick, I'm sorry. In the new Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man trailer, did you see that he had a cape on the bubble coat? On the coat. We call him bubble coats,
he kept the coat. Yeah, and then he had the cape
he had
on
a
top
cape
of it.
on the coat.
Why is the Sanctum Sanctorum covered in ice? Everyone's like, oh, it's because there's a hole in the roof. I'm like, guys, it's like the summer. Like you see the outside of New York.
Well, he had on a coat though, so it must not have been.
In the trailer, we see Spider-Man on like walking into the Sanctum Sanctorum. It's nice. It's sunny. Spider-Man's dressed like not that like it's like he's dressed for warm weather. And he walks in and it's freezing. Everyone's like, oh, it's from the hole in the roof. And I'm like, it's like the summer. No, that's not it. Listen, it's not the time. That makes no sense. I understand that it's a joke, but like
you're just upset that you don't have a cape on your bubble coat.
I could absolutely have a cape on my bubble coat. You know why? Because I have a cape in that drawer right there. Take my cape out and I could take my bubble coat and I could put it on top of it.
Nerd alert. You gonna have
Tim's
on
in
too?
my high school, there was a guy who would always wear a cloak to school. And you know what? Power to him. That was he knew what his look was and he stuck with it. I bring it back. Bring cloaks and capes back, but only in the winter. Like I've been watching a lot of Castlevania, Witcher, stuff like that. Obviously Game of Thrones. Cloaks are cool. I mean, they're not cool when they drag across the ground in real life because they get really dirty, but in like anime and in like TV shows, really cool. In the winter, I'm sure those things are warm as all heck.
Yes.
They should absolutely bring them back. We would be a more powerful species if we brought them back. Of course. I want to get back to Eternals real quick, but before that, I just want to talk about What If very quickly. It's really cool. I really like it. My biggest complaint, though, is that because the episodes are only 20 minutes, or like 20 to 30 minutes, and the pace is just off. I feel like the pace for every episode just feels too fast. I wouldn't mind if they made the episodes to like 45 minutes, just to explore the idea a little bit longer. Though I understand it's animation, so it's tricky. But I do like, I've liked all the ideas they've explored in the show. And I'm excited to see how the season ends. But going on to the Eternals, I'm surprised that that's the movie you're really excited for. And not just because I feel like the Eternals has I guess it's because I'm struggling to understand the vibe of the movie. Because the trailers have this very grandiose feeling to them. They're very like, we are the Eternals and we're so powerful. And look how aesthetic we are. Look how aesthetic this ship is. Look how aesthetic this shot is. And that's never been like the Marvel style, you know? So I think that's why I'm like struggling to get a feeling for it. But it does remind me of what I like about what Marvel is doing right now in their new phase, which is all the TV shows feel very Marvel, like the original Marvel stuff. But all the new movies that are coming out seem to be leaning into their own aesthetic more heavily. Shang Chi leans very heavily into the idea of like kung fu movies and stuff like Jackie Chan, like all the history of like kung fu movies feels to be represented in Shang Chi. The Eternals feels to be representing something, and I'm like Oscar. That's the only thing I can get. Like Oscar film is what I'm getting from it.
I think also, the whole idea and premise of that I like. A movie that I saw not quite more recently, but not like just yesterday, is The Old Guard. It's on Netflix by Charlize Theron. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name, but she is the main character in it. So I always did like that concept of immortality in movies. I just thought it was really cool.
I do think,
but also I like what Marvel is doing because I think that this change is good. Now they can continue what they're doing, but you know, who wants to become complacent and just do the same thing over and over again, especially when you know that you have so much more to offer, because then you're just going to have the same type of movies. Like we have the characters that we love, but it's like, okay, let's expand upon it, because if not, like I just said, it's going to feel the same. and you're gonna get bored. Not maybe they probably will get bored, but us as viewers could kind of start to get bored. So I think them slowly introducing this new feel is really good to keep them diversified and not have everyone because complaints. Because people are going to get hype either way. So we know
it's a really
the
good
brand
decision to start diversifying the content a lot more.
Yeah, and like the movies are already made as far as we know, but like
they're probably just doing some special effects at this point, wrapping up some edits, getting things tight.
If it doesn't work, I feel like we'll just get used to it. Even the movies from Tobey Maguire to now. I'm just using Spider-Man because that's the okay. Not even that. Well, Iron Man. I was about to say Iron Man to what we saw him when we last saw him. Even how they did things then has changed, but not really.
I'd say the character who I feel like changed the most in the way that the films depicted him was Thor. Because comparing the first Thor movie and the second Thor movie to like Thor Ragnarok and his appearance in Endgame, very different characters. Completely different. And I like what he's become. He's become that comedy character that can be like cool. Mm-hmm. Whereas the Guardians of the Galaxy are like, they're cool, but they're kind of just a bunch of goofs.
But I think that's the point, like Deadpool.
Where Thor is like, I'm funny and I'm very good at what I do. I just am kind of a goof, but I'll make it work. I'll figure this out. I'm like capable. And
I think Marvel does a really great job at character development. Because speaking of, I'll just say Tony Stark. Tony Stark is from when we first saw him in the first movie, how arrogant he was, even though he still held on to some of that. That's just his personality. But he definitely became a lot more open, a lot more willing to work with everyone than like in the first Avengers movie. They like hated each other essentially. Like they could not get along. And though they had
a better dad than you'd expect.
Yes. And though they had issues, maybe hate is a strong word, but they didn't get along in the first one.
No.
It took a minute. But even though they still had their issues down the line, just each individual character has developed in their own way. Yes. And it may not be rapid, but it's there. And
they've all
really
grown
liked
into
the way
themselves.
Exactly. And to slight, am I cutting you off? Can I go back to, because you mentioned Thor, so I want to segue.
No, go for it.
Okay. Just as like a last quick rundown, because Marvel has been dropping heat after heat after heat. Mm-hmm. Goodness grief, they said, get the grill ready because we about to start cooking, okay? Mm-hmm. So, speaking of Thor, May 6th, these are all 2022 movies, is Thor Love and Thunder. And I'm really curious by that title because I'm like, love? Thor? Now, it could be his love for being a demigod.
We know for this Thor Love and Thunder that his, the love interest character from the original Thor movie and the second Thor movie.
I'm going to definitely have to go back and read
Jane Foster.
Oh.
She's coming back. So she's going to be in this movie again. And likely it's going to be playing on the storyline from the comics where Jane Foster becomes Thor. She is worthy and she picks up Mjolnir and now she's like female Thor.
She is the love to his thunder. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also I would be pretty sure that it's not going to be romantic relationship between them. I think it's going to be more like, yo, I'm cool and I'm Thor. And he's like, but I'm Thor. And you're like, yeah, well, screw you. I'm Thor now.
And we're going to be Thors together.
He'll probably still have like Stormbreaker. So I'm sure it's not going to be a problem. Somehow Mjolnir will come back, I guess, and she'll have it. And everyone's going to be like, what's going on? And I think the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to be a part of it because Guardians of the Galaxy is where we leave Thor. He's going off with them. So somehow that all comes together. I don't really know much. I just know that she is in it. Like she's confirmed she's coming back in it and she's going to be Thor. And somehow, I think.
Well, I'm really looking forward to that. And then the last two that I have to mention really quick is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, July 8th. And then The Marvels is coming out November 11th. And then there apparently is going to be the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special late 2022. Now, beyond that, there are a bunch more movies, and I encourage everyone. They have even a list up until 2023. I encourage everyone, Blade, to look at this. It says like Ironheart might be coming out in 2023.
Yes, Ironheart's not for a while. That's like way later, but I am excited for it.
So am I.
Though I do want to see what happens with Hawkeye. What I've liked
course,
about
yeah.
the Marvel shows is that they too have had very unique feels. They still feel like Marvel. They're very Marvel-like, but each one has had its own feeling to it.
Of course.
WandaVision was very like sitcom inspired. Falcon Winter Soldier was very action. The Loki felt very similar to, if you've seen the Umbrella Academy, had a very similar vibe. All I'll say now is like, go see Shang Chi. It's out now. Go check out the Spider-Man movie when that comes out. Really excited. And keep up
And
with
Josh,
the games.
watch Venom.
They're all cool. Say again?
Watch Venom.
Yeah, I gotta see Venom. Once we end up playing the game, we should talk about them again.
Of course.
For now, we're more speculating.
This episode, we just, like, especially when I saw that Wolverine trailer, we just wanted to talk about Marvel because, like we said in the beginning, they have truly been popping off. And we thought, what a better way to do it than with the podcast. And we can all fangirl together, or fanboy, or fan whatever. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to find more of me and Josh, you could find me on YouTube at Hannah Solana. And you could also find me on Instagram at Hannah Solana _. I play casual video games on my channel, plus The Sims 4. Any of that sounds interesting to you, all of our information will be in the show notes. And Josh?
And I have been Josh.
You have been Josh?
I'm Josh, aka Hacked Comics on YouTube, where I make animated shorts, typically talking about Pokemon and other things in gaming, as well as Javis _HC on TikTok, where I post all my videos as well. You can also check out my Patreon, patreon.com/hackedcomics, where I do commissions.
All right, so with that, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in our next episode.
Stay in crisis, gamers.